Welcome to Killer Women with your host, best-selling author Danielle Gerard. And now, Danielle's next killer woman.
Welcome to Killer Women, a proud member of the Authors on the Air global network with more than 4 million listeners. I am your host, suspense author Danielle Gerard, and my guest today is C.L. Miller. Kara is the internationally best-selling author of the Antique Hunter series. She started working life as an editorial assistant for her mother, Judith Miller, on the Miller's Antique Price Guide and other antiquing guides. She lives in a medieval cottage in Dedham Vale, Suffolk, with her family. Visit her at clmillerauthor.com. Welcome, Kara.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so fun. You're all the way from the UK.
All the way from the UK to Portugal.
Is this your first Belgica?
I went to the San Diego one a couple of years ago, but only for 2 days. This is the first time I'm getting
The full experience. And what do you think?
It's great. It's great meeting everyone. And
yeah, we're in this. This is the first time Killer Women has ever been recorded in a room with other people who are talking. So hopefully people can hear us. So before we get started on I want to hear about all the things. Tell us a little bit about yours. This is the second book in the series. Death on the Red Sea.
Death on the Red Sea. So the first book in the series kind of sets the scene, which is that Freya was an antique hunter 20 odd years ago, and she gave that up to start a family and raise her daughter. And then everything changes. Her house is being sold. Her daughter's gone off to university, and this is kind of what next moment when her aunt Carol, who's glorious, calls to tell her that her estranged antique hunting mentor has died, and Carol thinks the death is suspicious. So Freya returns to a village she hasn't entered for 20 years, and but one is solving Arthur's murder. So when we get to the Antique Hunter's Death in the Red Sea, they have decided to set up the Lockwood Antique Hunting Agency, and Freya is kind of coming back into her own. She's gone back to her love of antique hunting and solving antique crimes or art crimes within the black market. And this book starts with a painting that's been stolen in a dead body. And they end up on an antique specialist cruise heading to the century.
It's just so fun. It's like it's locked room because you're on the boat with them.
Yeah, no one can get off.
No one can get off. Although the people do join in the middle, and you're like, oh God, what's happening here? So tell us a little bit. So your mother, it sounds like this is inspired by her, and I know she passed recently, and I'm so sorry that I've been through that as well. It's my dad, and that was a really hard thing. So tell us about the did you have a love of antiques your whole life? I mean, it was just the world you lived in. What was it like to grow up?
I did. I mean, I definitely did grow up in the antiques world. My parents wrote the Miller's Antiques Price Guide, which was published for over 45 years. My mother was an antiques expert on the BBC Antiques Roadshow. She's a specialist in miscellaneous, which means they gave her just anything that turned up from like old Coke bottles to
that's not worth anything. Yeah.
So
she was on the Antique Roadshow in the UK. Is that what I read?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. And she was a TV presenter on other programs before. So she was hugely knowledgeable, and our house was built
I can imagine.
to the guns.
Yeah.
With antiques. Every bit of wall was covered with mirrors and paintings, and in every corner there was some broken chair, which we had to sit on.
Else you break it, right? Yeah, it was worth more than you.
No balls in the house. And I'm one of 6.
Oh my
gosh. Going on.
Yeah.
But no, I did not love antiques. It was all a bit too much. With the no balls, we had to be careful with everything in there.
Yes.
I didn't love them. And I did, when I was about 9, put a petition together for IKEA furniture in my bedroom, because I wanted drawers that opened really easily. And my Victorian pine one, you have to jiggle to get it open.
Yeah.
That pine chest is now in my daughter's room, and she has to jiggle to open it, and I feel like it's a rite of passage.
Absolutely.
She was like, "Can we get some?" I was like, "No. This is how we do it."
That's right.
I think I kind of fully came into my love of antiques maybe later, kind of when I've got my own house, and I could fill it with what I wanted.
Yeah.
Rentals, you can't do that so much.
No.
But when my husband and I both going for our first house. And then my mum was like, well, let's go to auction, let's see. And it really, I mean, that was kind of 18 years ago, and it really ignited. And then I realized how much I knew.
Yes, you know
Just
so much. Yeah.
Osmosis.
Yeah.
She'd be like, this is a lily vase, and I'd be like, oh, I know that.
Yeah.
So each book kind of has a theme, especially the Red Sea. So there's kind of nautical antiques.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as I was writing this book that I wanted to do quite a portion on shipwreck ceramics, because I find it really interesting.
Yes. Talk a little bit about that, because that was not something I mean, it makes sense. It's not something I had really thought about.
Yeah. So shipwreck ceramics, mainly from Asia.
Yeah.
So there are the kind of the big discoveries, which were the Hoi An hoard, which is in here, and the Hatcher collection. And I think it's quite romantic that these ships sank in the South China Sea, and they weren't discovered for 100 years.
Yeah.
And so, but they were ships exporting loads and loads of plates and cups in China in huge crates to Europe. So when they discovered them, they were so the divers dove down and they found this
Everything just like pristine. Yeah.
vases, but also the sea had kind of invaded.
Yeah.
So they were covered in barnacles.
I would imagine.
And there's some called sea sculptures, which is when coral and barnacles have kind of melded together different like cups and vases and plates.
So that's art in its own right now.
Yeah. And so we had them in my house. They were high up on a shelf. You weren't allowed to.
I was going to say, I can't imagine there's a lot of things you don't want to touch.
I'd reach up on my tiptoe
Yes.
and I would run my fingers over the barnacles.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's been under the sea for 100 years.
Yeah.
It's really, and all the varnish wears off. So they're quite matte.
Right.
So yeah, those kind of things I think I love. So I love that romanticism and that image of those items.
Yeah.
So I guess.
So I mean, tell me about the process of writing, the first book. What was it? Was there just a point where have you written books before? I guess I don't know your history, or is the Antique Hunter's Guide your first?
It was my first published book.
Okay, yeah.
So I did write, as many of us
We all
do.
do.
I
All have
books
those.
that didn't
Yes.
get anywhere.
Yes.
Which I kind of see as my training.
Yeah, you have to. And actually now you're happy they didn't come to
Yeah.
the light. I mean,
Yeah.
I have those. I'm like, thank God no one does.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the first one I thought was great and it was terrible. And now
Yeah, they all have that. At
Um,
least we're smart enough to recognize it now, right?
Yes, but there's still a part of me that loves that.
Yeah,
book.
of course.
But
Yeah.
Antique Hunters, I mean, it was one of those ideas that just literally came to me, which I don't think is always that, I think it's really rare.
Yeah.
That something kind of comes fully formed,
Yes.
but it did, and now it kind of feels like legacy to me.
Yeah.
Because it's so much, I mean, Miller is, it's my maiden name.
Yes.
It's on book still, and my parents were in publishing for over 30 years.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like it's my way of kind of celebrating what my parents did, and also my childhood and my love. So I love costume jewelry. So costume jewelry is
Yes.
things that I love
Right.
get put in the book, and I hope readers love it too.
Yes. And I actually really love, so there's, and this isn't a spoiler, I don't think, but there's the painting that ends up being sort of appearing midway in the book. And then, and Arthur has had some little details put into this painting, which I thought was such a clever way of giving us some clues of, Arthur was he's gone, but he was, trying to help her.
Lead,
Yeah, trying to lead her along the way to figure out what is happening here. And I mean, there's the collector, there's this sort of it's all about the black market. And I don't know if I didn't haven't read the first book yet, but if that's in that sort of theme, because the hunter part of it is the idea that her job is to find pieces that have gone missing, that have been stolen, or is she hunting sort of in a more general sense of like finding just antiques?
So yeah, hunting as in things that have been stolen and missing. And there are, like in real life, there are antique hunters. They don't call themselves antique hunters. That's just my fictional. They're normally detectives,
Yes.
private detectives. But yeah, I think that because I grew up in the antiques world, I was always very aware of the two sides of it. And I think that we see the antiques world kind of through the gaze of maybe the Antiques Roadshow, which in the UK is set against these beautiful stately homes.
Right.
And everyone is lining up very, there's this kind of calm, tranquil But the black market is very, very prevalent. I think that the latest valuation is somewhere, I mean, from the billions.
Yeah, I would imagine, right?
So
Yeah.
it's a massive part of the black market operations, you know, and it ties into all other criminal activities. And I thought it would be interesting, as well as kind of showing people antiques that I love, to show them the side of the antiques world or the art world that we don't always see,
Right.
on the antiques road.
Right. I was gonna say, and your parents probably didn't deal so much with that black market stuff, which is probably safest. Right? Otherwise, it's a very different type of
My
upbringing.
parents were collectors, which is why our house was so stuffed. They rarely sold.
Oh,
They just kept bringing. And actually, my husband would probably accuse me
of
of the
being,
same thing.
well, of course, you inherited a little bit of,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Want to just be surrounded. I think that's the thing with antiques. You want to be surrounded by things you love.
Yeah.
Rather, you know, there are really valuable pieces that are beautiful as well. But if you're going to have something in your house, it has to be what you love.
Especially if you're gonna have children.
Yes.
I mean, because even if you put it on a far up shelf, we all know that isn't necessary.
Even my kids know I collect mid-century modern, so especially Danish vases and ceramics, and they know that those are the shelves.
Yes, not
So
to
can we not bang into those
right,
shelves?
right. But things do happen, right?
Things do happen.
Yeah, and I think as a parent, it's probably smart to not get too attached to anything,
Yeah.
anything other than the children
Yeah,
themselves.
and we broke things as kids,
Yeah.
and my parents
They handle it.
they handle
So the first book, I imagine you said sort of the idea came fully formed, but what's it like then to sort of think about creating these other experiences for Freya and her Aunt Carol and sort of, how do you see it going forward from here? What's it like to sort of create, sort of like the Miss Marples thing a little bit, right? You have to sort of create a new, or not Miss Marples, with Angela Lansbury, like you have to create a new sort of.
a new murder mystery
Yes,
every time.
yeah.
I think I was quite lucky when I went out to publishers with the books. My agent wanted I had book one written, but they wanted book 2 and 3 kind of
Sketched out.
exactly. So I'd kind of had those, although actually the books are quite different from what I'd sketched. But interestingly, I knew that this book I wanted to set, there are antiques cruises.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah, and so my mum had done these cruises and they had ended up in Petra, and I'd always wanted to go to Petra. So I thought, if I put it in a book, I can go to Petra.
Oh, great idea. I love that.
So,
We have to really work this
Yeah,
out. Right.
So we all went to Petra as a family, which was
Oh,
amazing.
I'll bet.
And I knew I wanted to do one on nautical antiques.
Yes.
And book 3 is set in a Scottish castle. My mother was Scottish. I spent a lot of time in Scotland, and I wanted to focus that on Scottish antiques. So that's kind of how I think I start my thought process
Okay.
in terms of which book, where I'm going to angle.
Yes.
And then, I throw in some murders.
It has to be right. Right.
As we do.
You figure out the beautiful spot you wanted to. So you
Hand someone off and off.
Yes, there you go. I love it. So when is book 3? I know you said you were working on the edits this morning.
So book 3 is out in February.
Oh, that's super exciting. I'm out in February too. When is yours?
I think it's the 12th.
Okay, I think I'm the 24th.
Oh.
You guys are Thursdays, is that right?
Yeah, with us.
Okay, I'm a Tuesday, but I'm gonna come over maybe. I'll let you know. I really want to come over. I've not ever done a signing in the UK, and this is Pinky Swear is my first one that'll be out over there.
Oh,
So I'm gonna come over.
dude.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. And we have a massive kind of indie bookshop. We
Yeah.
have some really lovely, and they're really supportive. They do a lot of events. So I've been really, really grateful for it.
Yeah. Are you doing a tour here in addition to Bouchercon?
No, this is just, to be honest, I've come for a whole week.
Oh,
So I went to see New Orleans, and I've been on a swamp tour. I mean, it's been amazing.
Yeah. How was that? The swamp tour?
I mean, I got to hold a baby alligator.
Oh, you did? How big is a baby alligator?
No, they're only like this.
Like 6 to 8 inches.
And I
Okay,
was-
not too big.
My friend was like, "Can you take one?"
Yeah,
Oh,
I think they do grow up and
Yeah, I know.
you'd rather
don't
not
have
have
dogs.
Right, your dogs are super.
No,
not
they'd be like,
super
we
happy.
don't need this.
Your dog and also maybe your husband. They'd be
Yeah, I
like,
know.
what have you done? What were you thinking? Well, the New Orleans is, we are, in this environment, it's such a mystery place. I mean, it's really, I have actually, one of the things I really want to do while I'm here is go to like an authentic voodoo shop. I really want to, and they did warn me that you shouldn't hex your ex-husband. I was told that by public, which is sort of disappointing because it was like on my little list. But he is, but I'm, I'm partially joking, but they did say mostly it was the good thing to do is to go and like find ways to sort of like reinforce yourself. And people believe in it very strongly. In fact, it was interesting, I thought, to have people respond to that. Oh no, do not do that. Like they were very adamant that blacks do not practice black magic. Which I thought was interesting because I sort of joke about it, like it's that's not a real thing, but it sounds like it's a real
I
thing.
mean, it's a perfect place for a climate.
It's a perfect place for a climate convention, exactly.
There's so much atmosphere around here and it's so beautiful.
And do you do any of the conferences over in the UK? Because I've heard about Capital Crime and Harrogate, and those are on my sort of short list. So
I mean, Harrogate's amazing because it's set in the summer, and we only have about 3 days of summer, but most of the time it doesn't rain. But it's set at the Swan, which is where Agatha Christie was found when she went missing for those 11 days. And so it kind of has a real atmosphere of crime surrounding it. And they have all these tents outside and everyone kind of sits around and, in deck chairs, I kid you not, in deck chairs, meeting up. And it's a real industry thing. So our agents, not everyone kind of goes.
Everybody gets to come.
It becomes a big part of the crime writing community. And it's really welcoming. So, if it's the first time, everyone kind of chats through those WhatsApp groups for new people. And so it's really good.
It does sound really fun. Well, that's on my list too. There's all, and like Iceland Noir, there's one thing about this, and it's particularly crime writers. I feel like there's a lot of really fun conferences, and there's what's the one in Scotland where you get to
Bloody Scotland. It's on next weekend.
It is. Are you going?
No, I'm here.
You're here.
So I just came back, but I did Iceland. I did Bloody Scotland last year. I did Iceland last year.
Okay, you did.
Yeah, when the volcano erupted.
Oh,
it's amazing. And I think that's the thing about crime writing, the crime community. There are loads of other instances that you can meet readers, meet other crime writers.
And also I feel like that it's a weirdly collaborative community. You kind of think about crime writers as being, for some reason in my mind, they'd be standoffish or they'd be brutal because we literally murder.
Maybe they get it all out on the page.
Yes, they do. And people say that this is one of the most supportive communities, even more supportive than what you mean, like romance writers my experience has been that everybody in this world has been so amazing. But I think the thing that appeals to me most about Bloody Scotland is the torch.
Yeah.
You get to literally go and carry a flaming torch. In America, they would never let you do that.
I think it's been cancelled now.
Oh,
I think I think a crime writer, quite a prominent one, might have set someone on light.
On light, I love that. Set someone on light. Oh yeah, that would be.
So I think that it's actual just torches.
Oh,
I know.
I miss the flame.
I think my year they didn't do it, and everyone was devastated.
I bet, because I think
where's the flame? Where's the fire?
That's so.
Oh, no,
one crime writer just ruined it for everybody. Okay, well, this was so fun, Kara. What a thrill to have you here. So what's the third book called?
The third book is Auntie Cantor's Murder at the Castle.
Oh. And I imagine you had to go to a Scottish castle for that as well.
I did. We did a whole Scottish road trip.
I'm thinking I have to put the UK on my
you see, put it in the book.
Or my tourism write-offs. I probably have to go around a bit to different places and exactly. What benefits do we possibly get from this crazy business except for those, right?
Yes. The travel and meeting people.
So what a pleasure. Well, tell our listeners where to find you on Instagram, your website, so people can check out the first book in the series and follow you.
So I am on Instagram at CL Miller Writer. Twitter the same. My website is CL Miller Author, so you can find everything about the books there.
So fun. Kara, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, this has been Killer Women with CL Miller, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.